Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm in beautiful British Columbia, Abbotsford, BC. The last couple of days, I have showed you video after video after video of one of the largest criminal organization ever put together in Abbotsford, BC. It was called the Establishment. The headhunter and the runner of it all was Henry Braun. Braun was instrumental of putting the whole thing together to control it. Darren Braun, Henry's own son, showed me what his dad was doing and how his dad could clean it through the M.L.As and the MPs and Vicky Hopes. He was controlling it all. Even when the Abbotsford police got in trouble, he could lean into Ed Fast and Mike DeYoung and clean all the Abbotsford police for himself, rather than the company be facing discipline and dismissals. They weren't. He was cleaning for his gang. Today I'm on Tracy Road. I want to tell you why I'm on Tracy Road. I just finished with all the neighbors here. They were never consulted about any of this. This here on Tracy Road is Dave Sidhu's dad, Andy Sidhu's property. Now I want to make it clear, and I want you to listen, BC Conservatives, and I want you to listen, Kevin Falcon, and I want you to listen very good. Dave Sidhu ran a slate called the Abbotsford First. He ran with Brenda Falk, Ross Siemens when they ran for council, a whole slate. In the last election here, Dave Sidhu was helping Ross to get loaded and cheated at UFB by blocking Mr. Pelican. He asked his dad to do it. In return, they're going to vote here on Tracy Road for the dune development to get ag processing. Who they were using through the back door was Daryl Plunkus, who sits on PAM's Riding Association. So here's a man that was in Victoria as the Speaker of the House investigating alcohol. Doesn't know what collaborating racketeering is. And Dave Sidhu is a sitting councillor, and he's a BC United. And his dad sells the property for millions of dollars. In return, this is what happened. Well, let me speculate. Who bought it? They're speculating. Vitalis. Vitalis just got $25 million to upgrade its processing plant. It's speculation that Vitalis bought this with the $25 million PAM brought in. They were rewarding each other through the back doors. So now you have Dave Sidhu that told the Augustine man to go stick it up your ass, helped Diverse Project Rob Funks with the illegal zoning from 200 to 455, then went on Mackenzie Road and helped that. Here, now council and mayor pass and going to sit on this decision to give this processing plant the green light. We voted for it. I saw stupidness like Forrest Gump said. I saw dumb. And I've seen everything, but I've never seen shit like this. That this councillor and his fake garbage trash mayor believe this will help my dad. This will give my dad millions of dollars, Ross, and when my old daddy dies, I'll get it. Oh, my old daddy. Your dad needs to go to jail, and so does Dave Sidhu. They're using the city, well, he's elected official of the city council, lifting his own piece of property, and who else is on that decision? Ross Siemens and the whole of Abbotsford First. That means Kelly Shahal. That meant everybody that ran in Abbotsford First. And let me get this straight. The biggest leader of them all, Mark Warkentine, the land titles officer. I bet you if I really search, I'll probably find his company's doing the paperwork in here. He bought Ed's old practice. He's partners in there. And didn't even halt this. It's the city staff phoned me and said, listen, Mr. Pelican, when we saw that cop smash your phone and everything and the collaborating and the racketeering on seniors and violating, I made it clear. I ran for mayor to help the Abbotsford community that was being violated by its own police department. And it was violating it as gangs. They were using their shields as investigators, officers to smike out stuff in complaints to help land developments in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. And then use the media, if you go out, police chief, and you speak about gangs, that'll take it off of what we're doing behind the doors. To the BC Conservatives, if you look at the Augustine man and you look at this, you should be screaming. Right now, Kevin Falcon is not only allowing his candidates that are running in a sitting city council in conflict and collaborating and lifts to land that benefit him, It's organized criminal activity in a city official capacity, and this is why it happened. But when residents went to the Abbotsford police to lay complaints that are supposed to investigate organized criminality, gambling, prostitution, and everything, the fucking chief didn't know what to do. His investigators didn't know what. Oh, let me phone Henry. Henry, what do you and Ed Fast and Mike DeYoung want us to do? Oh, don't do nothing. Just go up and threaten the residents that are complaining. This is going to help Dave Sidhu and us get it through. It was organized criminal activity in the largest, one of the biggest ones, I believe, since we heard of Al Capone. It was a massive organization, but where it was at the top. Ed Fast and Mike DeYoung and Pamela Alexis were cleaning it when the complaints came in. They knew if the Abbotsford police weren't functioning to investigate, they could clean it. This is why they wanted to push for private police. If the RCMP got wind that you were doing shit like this, they come in and seize your bloody assets and take you down. But I believe it goes right up into the top of David Evy's office, because it has Pamela Alexis that lobbied this illegal criminal activity. Daryl Plunket's brother, Danny Plunkett, has been running around talking that they shouldn't have did this. Dave Sidhu and Ross shouldn't have did this in the council. They were all together. They voted to give this dad big money. They shouldn't have did this. And my brother sits on PAM's writing association. Here's a man that went after the alcohol in Victoria, a former Liberal that now joins the NDP and PAM's writing association, but they're laundering money in on job sites with their friends Control and Lift. This is why I said in a couple of days I'm going to release everything the RCMP helped these residents. I made it clear when I went to the RCMP mission in Surrey. It wasn't about me. It was about Abbotsford residents and families, and I took that god-awful picture, what Henry Brown was doing through the Abbotsford police under shields and bullying and threatening. I made it clear to the RCMP that I had a tremendous amount of former dignitaries and political leaders to help me, and they would never know it was coming. But this was about our families and our residents, and it was organized crime in the trillions of dollars of land, and it had to be right at the top of the Premier, because the Premier's M.L.A., when they were notified, were cleaning it and doing the opposite. You had Pam, if you look right behind me, a couple of days ago at King Haven, when residents went to her and told her that Abbotsford City was cleaning King Haven's alcohol in the back of the toilet tank. Henry Brown was for Milt Walker and Jerry Palmer. And the organization of threats on residents and porns and live videos, and Keelan Olenoff took that. So King Haven didn't get shut down to clean it at the Abbotsford Police Department for Henry Brown. It was the RCMP's and wisdom and knowledge said this: the Abbotsford Police and Henry Brown believe that when you need charges, you'll be walking all your evidence into their office, and they'll be playing you like fools to destroy it. They're in organized crime. So in a couple of days, I'm going to release, and I'm paying it personally to the province and everywhere out of our own money as residents, to release it on every front page of the organized crime that took place. That's even on Vicky Hope's. I want to make it clear. These people that did this, even their neighbors came forward to talk. Mike Sir fled from Abbotsford as the police chief. His new neighbor that sits beside him come to meet me and talk like Mike Sir's asshole is dripping and he's shitting blood. He was in organized crime. This is what the Abbotsford police ran. The other night when they smashed my phone and damaged my equipment, it takes a man to come out and say, "I'm sorry, sir. We'll go good for that equipment. The officer's done." They're sitting there, what would we do? Lay low, let's see what the politicians say first and how they're going to clean the company. Abbotsford police were in organized crime on residents. That is what made me so strong. That is why the RCMP and other municipalities and everybody came. That is why the federal Conservatives, the BC Conservatives and parties been up to them houses to see it. I made it clear when I heard the Abbotsford judge, nobody's above the law, nobody can use the law, no one can bend the law. No one thinks the end, you only think of the beginning. Dave Sidhu, were you thinking in the beginning how much money you were going to get in your inheritance from your dad if you helped lift the land and everything? And you blocked it. You're a V, Dave. When you used that and you went on to take money from Marcus Dalvis to load the Liberal nomination and fraud elections, it was clear what your goal was in life. It wasn't to represent your community. It was greed and gain. Pamela Alexis only has to do one thing, Dave Sidhu, and I make sure you phone her and tell her. You have to tell Pam, and Henry should phone Daryl Plunkus and say, Daryl, you know what we need you to do? We need you to get David Eby to stand in front of the new police building and beg how great it is so we can advertise that out. Let me tell you, David Eby, it's already at the federal level, and that's where it needs to go. So if you get your ass in front of the Abbotsford police, it'll show that how much money the province has been kicking in here and why they've been kicking it in. So let me tell you why this is happening. I believe the BC Conservatives are coming in to wipe your assholes out. And you can see the money being flooded in here. And why you flooded in is not for great projects for the community, because it's got nothing to do with the community. The Augustine man would have had to do with the community. The Riverside thing, if we can flood it in, the projects get going when we get kicked out because the Conservatives are going to win, they owe us. And this is what they've been doing. And that would be stealing taxpayers' money. And this is what they were being doing. If you wanted to paint a criminal picture to the RCMP and to the federal government, you couldn't have did a better job. The man that leaked it and made it all possible for me and Abbotsford residents on the abuse and the back players who were cleaning for the Abbotsford police when they were in trouble and the threats of Olenoff and everything was Darren Braun, Henry's own son. And we could never figure out why he did that. You know why? Bruce Banman treated Daryl Plunkus like Bruce Banman treated Darren Brown like a human being. And Darren Brown felt deeply grateful and touched. And when he saw what Henry was doing to the former mayor, Bruce Banman, Darren Brown told me, and the rest I took to the RCMP, to the Abbotsford police chief, this is what you investigate. This is what great officers do, and they go after organized crime, and they get the federal government in to seize assets. And that there shows you. You got your ass owned, and so did your officers. And then you went in and threatened residents that were laying complaints because they knew Vicky Hopes and Ken in the newspaper were being owned by Henry Braun. Henry Braun got in that car, and he came to that protest, and he came to end my life. Then he put me in the hospital, and he fled from there. The whole of Abbotsford police went down on their hands to clean it and clean organized crime. Then the Abbotsford police went in to block the election and ring my house in their black cars. Nobody will catch us. We're above everybody. And they started playing that. When the complaints went into Pamela Alexis and the government officials, they were cleaning because they were all in together. That is how the Abbotsford police got their way out of it each and every time. When Darren Brown showed me, I went to the RCMP. So I'm live on Tracy Road, PAM. I tell David Eby you need to give a lot more money because I'm done too, and we need to have some retirement funds. Calls for the BC Conservatives to call the federal government in and open criminal investigations and go after assets now. I'm live here on Tracy Road.